Is it well that you really think that Mr. Krabs became a selfish jerk before the movie premiered? This episode, Krabby Land, is just very terrible. Mr. Krabs became a jerk here before he became more of a jerk later on. This episode isn't the worst, but man, it really is that bad. It's all about spring in this episode, where SpongeBob celebrates the joy of spring, since spring break has finally begun, even though that he still works. And then when Mr. Krabs appears, he talks about children, more specifically money, obviously. Yeah, Mr. Krabs has an idea to have all the kids come together in spring break for a hangout. But all he ever wants is money, and trust me, his cheapness has just reached up to the point where you can understand that he's a terrible character. Since we get to see Krabby Land in the middle of the episode, well, he just pretty much found some equipment from the junkyard, and just make it Krabby Land. And that's not even the worst part. When he has SpongeBob do all the comedy, the kids are jerks to SpongeBob. I know the kids expect more from SpongeBob, but SpongeBob isn't really that good with comedy. And if you're gonna bring up the episode where SpongeBob talks about squirrel jokes and all the other stuff, that's a completely different story. Because he doesn't know how to make little kids laugh. And I do not mean the average audience, I mean the kids in this show. I mean, SpongeBob tries his best, and when the only thing that can get people's attention is pain. Yeah, in the worst way possible. Look, pain and suffering isn't hilarious, and it's actually kind of scary to look at, because SpongeBob doesn't deserve this kind of punishment. All he ever wants to do is to make the kids happy. I don't think that he really meant to make everyone laugh. By the way, I know the kids aren't the bad guys in this episode, but seriously, just look at the kid's face here. Don't you just want to punch him after SpongeBob is getting pulled at? Seriously, what is wrong with kids these days? And when SpongeBob had enough, the kids get chaotic. But that's not even the worst part, because Mr. Krabs doesn't care if SpongeBob gets all the pain. Oh my god! I can't believe a season 3 episode, which is probably the best season before the disasters happens, Mr. Krabs just has to be so cool, and all he cares about is money, and that's it. And when he completely reveals Krabby the Clown, which completely mentions during this episode, he only puts on a blue nose and a tie. And all he just says is, eat Krabby Patties and thanking people for coming. Wow. Just wow. Oh, but wait, the kids are about to beat up Mr. Krabs. Off screen. Yeah, all this is off screen. And guess what the punishment that Mr. Krabs gets? Eating llama beans. This is one of the most stupidest punishments I have ever seen. Llama beans are healthier or something, I don't know. And you demanding them to eat the llama beans isn't a great punishment. It's a stupid punishment. And well, yes, we get to see the kids get their money back, but this doesn't save this episode. Mr. Krabs deserves more of a punishment than eating beans. Other than that, this episode was just hard to watch. And it's very surprising that Mr. Krabs became a cheap jerk just before season 4 and everything after that began. It just boggles my mind that Mr. Krabs became more of a selfish jerk early on instead of when everything changes when Steven Hillenburg left. Ugh. I recommend you just skip this episode, just like all the terrible Mr. Krabs episodes in the later seasons. I give this episode a 2 out of 10. Hopefully SpongeBob episodes like this don't go a lot worse than the later episodes. But this episode is still hard to watch.